to welcome all of you to ReferralTopia here today on March 9th, 2023. It's great to see you. If you're interested in professional development and getting the cutting edge and growing your business by powerful relationships, ReferralTopia is for you. This is where relationship-minded businesses come together to grow by referral. And ReferralTopia is proudly presented by Caerusnet, facilitated professional development and referral marketing teams. Before we move any further into this presentation, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who registered and donated to today's event. You are doing great work. First and foremost, you're inspiring future ReferralTopias. And then also, we like to do our event and also do good. And today we are raising money for the Beth Moffat Memorial Scholarship Fund, which does great work in the world. So if you are somebody that gets value from ReferralTopia today and you did not donate but would like to, please find the donation button on the landing page. You can donate anytime. Today we've got three fantastic speakers. We're going to be leading off this morning with Doug Moffat from the Moffat Group. After this, we have a one-to-one networking session, which you can navigate to by going back to the landing page. When we're done with that, Denise Robert from Playing to Win Teams will be presenting. We're going to do another networking session after that. And then Roger Burnett from Social Good Promotions is our final speaker. He's the co-author of The Red Goldfish. We've got three TEDx-like presentations for you today. These presenters have worked really hard to deliver value to you today. So we're going to ask that, if at all possible, stay on camera. Obviously, if you've got a dog in your lap or kids you've got to tend to or something crazy happened, go ahead and turn that video off. But otherwise, we're counting on your reactions and your energy to continue to feed this event, because after all, it's all about relationships. Also wanted to mention that if you have a great time today online and you'd like to meet a lot of the people that are online, many are going to be at the ReferralTopia Afterglow in Brighton from 4 to 7 p.m. today. That'll be hosted by Denise Roberts. You are still welcome to register to be a part of this. Registration will be open until the actual event. So please do, if you've got the time to do it, you will not regret it. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker today. Doug Moffat and my relationship precedes Caerusnet. Our relationship came together by way of referral. I used to be a mortgage broker, and I was referred to Doug to develop a referral relationship with him when he was a financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual. We met, we connected, and we hit it off. Doug was the very first Caerusnet member in 2008. He's been in this organization for a little while. He's passed, a few referrals. Doug now is also the owner of the Moffat Group, where he's a leadership coach, helping small business professionals get that leadership edge in their business. He's married to his high school sweetheart. He has two wonderful daughters. He's actively involved in the community and donates his time to do good. Doug's a personal friend of mine, and he always delivers value. He's also the most presented presenter at ReferralTopia. He's been featured more than anybody else because of the value that he delivers. So please join me in putting your hands together and welcoming Doug Moffat from the Moffat Group into his presentation, The Power of Words.
Good morning, Caerusnet. Woo! I'm excited, so excited. Thank you, Steve, for the opportunity. Thank you for your friendship. I always like to thank you for your leadership. I'm going to set my timer, as a good facilitator should, for 20 minutes. So we got time for Q&A here, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. Give me just a moment. There we go. You know, the more I live on this beautiful earth, the more I realize just how much power we have in our words, in this beautiful language that we've been given. Our words matter so much that they leave a lasting imprint and legacy on those around us. Every day, the people that we interact with. But I often, as a coach, want to ask the question, okay, how well are we stewarding those words? You know, the average person speaks about 7,000 words a day. And so how well are we being economical with our words? Are we being impeccable with our words? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And you know, it was so timely this morning. I walked out to our kitchen. My wife is getting ready for her day as a first grade teacher, and she had up a slide that she was getting ready to work on with her class today. And it said, trash or treasure, nonsense words or real words. And I went into her and I said, oh my gosh, honey, thank you. That's perfect timing, because that's a lot of what we're talking about today. And I also read this morning, which I want to share. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. You know, we all want to be better and better leaders. And I think that takes a lot. It takes a lot of work, right? It's not easy. But knowing the people I know in Caerusnet, people here are hard workers. They're passionate about what they do, and they want to get a little better every day. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Three things. We're going to help you work on the power of your words in building people up. We're going to talk about what it means to ask better questions. And I'm going to share 5 of my favorite questions with you, and then we'll leave some time for Q&A, because I really believe everybody can be a coach, and to use what I've now come to know as the coach approach. And I've mentioned this before. Edgar Schein wrote a beautiful book called Humble Inquiry. The subtitle is The Subtle Art of Asking and Not Telling. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But here, to me, is one of the best coaches in history, especially if you're a sports fan. If you're a basketball fan, you know the name John Wooden. And look at all the words. A picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So I'm going to start with some pictures here that have been profoundly impactful on me and my life and my business. And this one is the Pyramid of Success. I highly encourage you. And it was affirmed when, if we have any Ted Lasso fans out there, that Ted Lasso puts this up in his office, right? And who's excited for next week, March 15th, season 3? I know I am. But look at all those words on there: competitive greatness, poise, confidence. You know, a lot of my coaching conversations these days with people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is building confidence and getting more and more confident every day. We never stop doing that. Here's a great picture. I may have actually shown this a couple of years ago, but it's worth showing again. The Zingerman's organizational ecosystem. Look at all the beautiful words in there: purpose, values, beliefs, generosity. Steve, thank you for including Beth's scholarship into the day today as a recipient. What a wonderful gesture. And look at what is surrounding that entire picture, folks. All we need is love. Da, 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 da. All we need is love. Da, 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 da. Hopefully you have that song in your head all day, because I woke up with it in my head today. But here's a challenge, though, is I don't know about you, but sometimes we're looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love. Now, why is that? Well, let's see. Life is hard. We got a lot of challenges in front of us, and we get hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Anybody ever heard that acronym? HALT. We get hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And sometimes, unfortunately, I love live music. I saw a wonderful band last week called the Wood Brothers down at Majestic Theater. They have a song called Loaded. And here are the lyrics to that song. Sometimes the tip of my tongue is the barrel of a gun, and it's loaded.
Wow.
Whoa. We gotta watch that, right? We gotta manage that. I didn't talk to my mom last year for 6 months because I sent her a text with a very simple text, just giving my opinion of her opinion. And thankfully, I'm so glad to say that we have moved on from that. And I apologized, and we've kind of focused on love in our relationship. But boy, oh boy, people, we just so many opportunities to learn and grow here. All right, one word. I hope I have some one-word fans out there. If there's any, I know Mary Beth is on my team. Mary Beth, I wish I could remember yours right now off my head. Our MVP for the last 2 years, by the way. But thanks to Kurt Albrecht from Big PDQ Printing Done Quickly. He helped me come up with this last year. This is a Wordle, and those words you see on there are words from people on my teams, on my 3 teams. And we created little journals last year. My word last year was creativity. This year, almost, I think only 5 of my 48-ish members didn't give me a word. And this is all of our words for the year. And this word can be an anchor. It can be a true north for you. And if you haven't done it, you know what? It's not too late. It's March 9th. Choose a word for the rest of the year. You can do this in June or September. I don't care when you do it. But if you've never done it, let's talk, because it is powerful. Now, here's one of these other words that I just think is one that we really need to learn about, to reflect on, and to really press into. And I'd love to hear some feedback tonight at the Afterglow, just about what you think about what this word impeccable means. We need to, and I encourage you to be impeccable with your word. This comes out of Don Miguel Ruiz's The 4 Agreements book. Beautiful, beautiful book. If you've never read it, it only took about 7 people recommending it to me to finally say, oh, I guess I better read this. And the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. I'm going to share a couple of quotes here. The word is the most powerful tool you have. Excuse me a second. The most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. And it's like, wow, okay, maybe I don't know that I've ever thought about it that way before, but kind of back to those, like a sword with 2 edges, right? Your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. I want to give a huge shout out to Kathy King from Kathy King Strategies on my Brighton team, who she gave a word to me a few months ago that she wanted to be a speaker. She wants to be on stages. And guess what she just did last Friday at the Black and Bling for the Heartland Chamber? She was the keynote speaker and she crushed it, right? And that is powerful. Watching the people of Caerusnet be impeccable with their word, rise up, do the things they say they're going to do, and really press into that. Here's another one, and we're going to talk about this a couple times today, is the word can enter our mind and change a whole belief for better or for worse. I'm going to come back to that. Let's stick a little pin in that right now for a moment. And then the last one is the one, folks, I read this a couple of times this morning and it just gets me excited. I had some people read it. This was our toolbox this week. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. It can take away all fear and transform it into joy and love. Just imagine, Caerusnet people, just imagine what you can create with impeccability of the word. And again, that's what I've seen Kathy do. That's what I've seen Trisha Turner do. My man, Jason Tracy, who I just got to hang out with the other day for a trust builder. Denise, a little later, Roger, all these people are being impeccable with their word. But in order to get there, we have to be coachable. And I just love my George on here. I love my Curious George, right? The gentleman who hired me in 1997, and his name was Paul Stein. He looked a lot like Danny DeVito, my wife thought. But Paul Stein was a wonderful, wonderful man, kind and generous. He was a great coach as well. He had 5 leadership books. One of them was The Little Engine That Could. I think I can. I think I can. And this was the other one, Curious George. And I thought at the time that was so silly, but now I don't. Now I want to be curious, curious, curious every single day. But you have to be coachable too, right? What else does that mean? Being teachable, being open-minded. We've talked about that here before. Do you have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset, right? Are you playing to win, Denise? Hello, yep. Denise? Yep. Are we playing to win? Yep. Or are we playing not to lose, right? I can learn. Let's remove the can'ts, right? I can learn, I can grow, and I can develop and get better every single day and be a better version of myself. So the question I ask is not, are you coachable? Because I believe as a coach, everybody is coachable. Because I see that in people and I believe that in people. But you got to believe it in yourself. And you have to ask from time to time. I know I have my moments where I'm just stubborn and I want to do it my way. I think we all have those moments. but we got to realize we got to be coachable. We can improve today. And again, ask those questions. Okay, who can I help? When people join my team, we just welcomed an awesome guy named Dave Kozar on Tuesday to the Brighton team. He does a kitchen cabinet refinishing, which is kind of a niche for Caerusnet. He got 3 referrals the other day in his second meeting. I always ask the new members on my team when they join two questions. What are you most excited to give to the team? And what are you most excited to receive from the team? And that's that servant mindset, right? Who can I help? And sometimes I think it is important to say, who can help me? I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. Take that one with you. Put that in your toolbox. And I don't have all the answers, but I do have all the questions. That was on one of my old favorite brochures when we used to give out brochures to prospects or clients. And it's so true, because as a coach, if you take what I call the coach approach, again, it's back to that asking good questions. And then the important part, people, we got to listen. We have to be better and better listeners every day. And I know we hear that, I know we talk about it, and it's hard, and it's a lifetime practice. So like I said, here are my 5 favorite questions. Number 1 is a simple one. I hope these are all simple, because to me, that's what a good question should be. It should be short, simple, crisp, right? Why am I here? Why did I wake up today? You can answer that any way you want. I know a lot of us woke up and said, woo, it's ReferralTopia day, baby. Let's rock and roll. This is going to be awesome. But the why am I here, if you've heard the Simon Sinek start with why speech, and if you haven't read it, even if you have seen it, watch it again. Because that's the why, right? And that sets us apart out in the marketplace, because people want to know why they should do business with us. Some of us do this, similar things. There's a bunch of coaches, and there's a lot of great coaches in Caerusnet. There's a coach for everybody, but there's an insurance person for everybody. There's a computer person for everybody. But people really want to know why you do what you do, and people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We might hear that a time or two today. Rick Warren wrote a beautiful book called Purpose Driven Life, What on Earth Am I Here For? That's a wonderful book just to really help you tap into that. I didn't mention this picture, but I will now. So that, I love pictures. That is, on the left is a guy named Jack Peters. And on the right, her name is Courtney Ferguson. And the reason why this picture is so important to me is because Jack was Beth's softball coach, and Courtney was Beth's teammate. And Beth, the Beth Moffat Memorial was created because in 1992, Beth died in a car accident in Heartland. There were 8 kids in a car. It was a single car accident. Apparently they went off the road, hit a pothole, went off the road, hit a tree. Beth was the only fatality. I'm 20 years old. I didn't find out about it till my parents picked me up and drove me to U of M Hospital the next morning, where I got to say goodbye to her, thankfully. But at that point on, every single day, I said, why am I here? Why wasn't it me in that car? My grandmother, who was sobbing when I got to the hospital, was 80 years old at the time. Why didn't God take me? Why did he take her? And it's just important. We need to tap into that. It gives us purpose. It gives us energy, and it helps us be present and win the day. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. So win the day. Be present. Bring everything you have. I'm going to do my Reaching Higher mentoring at 12:30 today up at Legacy High School in Heartland. And we just started last week with one of our ground rules in the promise. And one of those ground rules is show up strong. We got to show up strong everywhere we can, as much as we can, right? A client shared this with me a while back when I was mentioning this talk. And he said, oh, that sounds like Loki, who says, I'm burdened with glorious purpose, right? If we ever have a day where we feel like as I have been a little bit lately, to tell you the truth, and I hate it when people say to tell you the truth, because weren't you being truthful with me before? Anyway, I do stuff like that too. But he said, I'm burdened with glorious purpose. And it just gives us a little shift, right? A little different way to think about all the beautiful responsibilities that we have. John Bacon, in his latest book, where he talks about how he took the Ann Arbor Huron hockey team from the worst team in the country to the state finals within 3 or 4 years has a great one. He just says, work hard and support your teammates, right? This is what a great one for our Caerusnet teams. Work hard and support your teammates. Show up strong every day. Bring a referral if you can, right? All right, next one. What do we believe? This picture is up in my office. For those of you who know me, know I'm a big hockey player. I'm playing in 2 leagues right now. We got hockey night in a couple weeks. I love hockey. I've been doing it my entire life. And this one, and I have things up in my office like this that believe, right? And Ted Lasso has it up too, also confirmed, like, okay, I'm on the right track here. If Ted Lasso's got it up, was what do we believe? And we've got to have faith. And too often we've got to overcome and fight these fears. We've got to be strong in our faith and what we believe. We got to believe in ourselves first, because other people aren't going to do it if we're not doing it ourselves. When we believe in ourselves, it empowers us and strengthens us to believe in others and those who we come into contact with every single day. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. SLBs are SOBs. Say that one time yourself. SLBs are SOBs. What are SLBs? Self-limiting beliefs, people. We all have them. And what do those sound like? Gee, I wrote down a couple. My friend, and I've actually heard this quite a few times lately. I don't like people. And now one of those was my friend Dave. He's an engineer, and maybe some engineers, sorry if there's engineers in the crowd, but he works on cars and stuff, and he doesn't like people. He's not very social, but a lot of us are. But some of the people in Caerusnet might be saying the same thing. I don't like people, or I'm not good at prospecting. I've met so many team members who come in over the years and said, I'm not good at prospecting. Well, not yet. Not yet, you're not. And to anything that you might say, I can or I'm not, just add yet and give it the time and attention it needs. Because with these beliefs, we got to ask, is it true? Where do these beliefs come from, right? Well, why was I saying I'm not a creative person a few years ago? Or I'm not good with technology? Thank you, Steve. And Steve knows this. I'm working on it. I'm under construction, right? Linda Suter at Big Frog will make you a shirt, as she did for me a while back when we got our first free t-shirt offer from Linda. We are under construction. And these beliefs, Adam Grant, latest book, Think Again, is we have beliefs from the time we're young. We get it from our parents, our teachers, our coaches, people at whatever, where we worship, people in the community, your crazy uncle or aunt, right? Family, friends, is we get these things and they become a part of us. And that's part of what Ruiz is talking about in that 4 Agreements book. These agreements that we've made with ourselves also means these beliefs that we believe. And we've got to stop and pause and ask ourselves, are they true or not? This is where emotional intelligence comes in. And I'm going to be talking more about that. All right, what's possible? When my sister died, that's Beth in that funny photo there, which actually was on the cover of Monthly Detroit magazine. Everybody thought that was a riot. She was the only girl in the league. That's little Jonathan Rietmeyer, he was the youngest boy in the league. And when Beth died 8 years after that picture, my dad, who died then in 2011, he created the Beth Moffat Memorial to honor her legacy. And that is such a beautiful word that I love to use with people. Just sitting down with a client yesterday. He's a very successful business owner, but now he's at the point where he wants to turn success into significance. And so there's so many points along this road where we ask, where do we go from here? And like a good caddy walks with his player and they're looking down that hole, and they're talking. If you've watched any PGA Tour golf lately, they've got these guys mic'd up and you can hear the conversation, the intricacies that goes into these conversations. And we're just like that too. We've got to have the vision. We've got to be thinking about our legacy. It's so helpful to be generous as we can be. And like I said, it's important to ask, oh my gosh, that flew by 20 minutes. Give me just another one here, Steve. What does it look like for us to turn success into significance? I love that. It's such a beautiful thing to explore. All right, well, if I were in person with you guys, I would, I just had to show that picture because that's not an official racket for anybody that might, but I do have, and I've given this talk once or twice in person. And when I do, the tennis coach in me likes to throw out. In fact, in the last one, I hit out a bunch of balls to people. They were a little scared, but I did it gently. And I want to hear from folks in the group right now, and just pretend like I'm tossing you the ball. I'd love to hear a few people before we do Q&A. Just talk about, because I threw a lot out there. There's a lot in these slides. I could probably make this a 2-hour deal. I'll be at Afterglow later and can't wait for some conversations. But please share, anyone who's willing, what's your biggest takeaway today? And I'll stop right there.
Doug, this is Manish. Thanks again. You did a great job.
Thank you.
You obviously have known you for a while. And this is the key. I think it reminds me 2 things that I should be doing. Number 1 is I don't have a word for the day, word for the year. So I definitely need to come up with that word for the year. Think a little bit on that, number 1. Number 2, your humility in sharing your story about your mother and the 6 months, because I've had an issue with one of my friends, one of my brothers as well. So I'm like, you know what, that message was for me. So your words do matter. So thanks for sharing.
Oh, thank you, Manish.
Doug, this is Steve Weber. Excellent information. You know, one of the biggest things I think that is limiting for many people is their self-talk. And when, like what you said, and somebody says, oh, I'm not good at networking, or, you know, I don't like people. Change that narrative. I mean, you can become whatever you have going through your mind. And that is, you know, I think one of the biggest things that keeps people back from being successful and moving forward is, what are they telling themselves? Because you're the one, you know, you listen to yourself most often, more than listen to anybody else. And that self-talk, boy, that is a important thing to correct if it's not going in the positive direction. But great job today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Hey, this is appropriate time to share this one. Hey, remember this: wherever you go, there you are. Right?
Very true.
Wherever you go, there you are. And if you change the way you look at things, wait a minute, hold on. I want to get it right. You may have heard this, but it's so good. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Good point.
Mr. Turner, we've got time for you. Go ahead.
I've had the pleasure of working with Doug, and I'm really loud about it. So if you're looking for a business coach, he's your guy. Don't even think about it. Just do it. But what I wanted to ask you, Doug, to elaborate on, you've really taught me how to listen to people and to look for certain keywords. And I actually disqualified 2 candidates in my hiring process because they used the word honestly, which told me they really weren't interested in the job, but they were interested in the pay, which is not going to be a good candidate for my business because I'm looking for A players that want to stay. Can you just quickly talk about the word honestly, please? Because everybody uses it way too much, and I really try because of you to never use it.
They do. And for me to tell you the truth earlier, I was kind of quite surprised because I don't let that come out very often. It's because of my friend and coach and mentor, Jerry Weinberg, who taught me for years in the Sandler sales system. And it came up, it used to come up in classes pretty regularly. And so it was one of those things that he said, and at first I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then, like you, Tricia, you went out and you started. It's like when you buy the new Jeep Grand Cherokee and all of a sudden you go see, you see Jeep Grand Cherokees everywhere on the road. That's the same thing when we're paying attention, when we slow down and pay attention and we have self-awareness, especially to these words, right? Because that word, you've mentioned that a couple of times, and I'm so glad that's been a powerful learning from you, is just being aware of it. And I think a lot of times we just want to wave the magic wand and have something change overnight. And most of us know that's not reality. But what can we do? We can get 1 degree better, right? We can maybe eliminate, to be honest with you, oh, geez, because weren't you being honest with me before? And that's where the impeccability of the word comes in. And what are examples, if I have just another moment? Here's examples of not being impeccable: lying, swearing, gossiping, complaining, making excuses, and most of all, not doing the things we said we would do, right? And so anyway, thank you for a good question. We chat more about it later.
So at this time, let's show our appreciation to Doug Moffat for a very thoughtful and fantastic presentation today. Doug, you delivered again tremendous value to everybody here.